Okay, welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're going to be talking about where you start is not where you finish. So before we get into that, I'm going to mention this. So last night I was talking about my bulk and how my knee has bothered me, and I'm not sure if I could put 100% effort into my legs going into a bulk and eating all those extra calories if it would really be worth going on a bulk. So right now I'm going to just see how the next 2 weeks goes, and if it starts going well, I'm going to dive off into the bulking. If my knee is still bothering me and I don't feel like I could push as hard as I can to burn up those extra calories, I might just stay on a maintenance slash cutting phase. So now into the topic. So a lot of people, when they get started in this, they have a vision of where they want to be or how they want to look, and a lot of people actually end up falling shy of that and getting discouraged. Like for instance, my first 12 weeks, I had an idea of how I wanted to look. I was a little delusional. I was 261 pounds. I was like, oh yeah, 3 months. I can have my abs visible in 3 months. So 12 weeks came and went, and I was nowhere near having my abs. I was 231 pounds. I lost 30 pounds in 12 weeks. And I wasn't even close to being where I thought I was going to be. And I could have got discouraged and upset and be like, oh man, it's taking too long. I swung and missed, and now I'm discouraged, and I'm going to stop. But instead, I said, you know what? I need another 12 weeks. So I continued with another 12 weeks, and I was like, this 12 weeks, I'm going to have the outline of my abs. And I accomplished that, and I did have the outline of my abs. In certain lighting, certain times of day, you could see all six. But for the most part, in the right lighting, you can see the top four. Now, there's still a lot of water weight and body fat over them, but the outline was there and where they're going to be. Now, the first 3 months, I could have gave up and be like, well, I didn't hit my goal, and I could have just walked away. But instead, I decided, you know what, I'm going to double down. I'm going to go again. And now, after 6 months of training like that, I'm at the point where, like I said, I'm on the edge of a knife of either starting my bulk, depending on how my knee goes and how it feels the next 2 weeks, or continuing on a cut. But all the same, my goal is to bodybuild. It's not to particularly cut weight or to bulk. It's to be fit enough to do a bodybuilding show. And that's what my finishing area is, and not the finish on my fitness journey. Just that's where my goal is wanting to like end up at.
Well, what I was going to say is kind of take your own advice, what you just said. You know, you didn't hit exactly what you wanted to hit exactly, so why give up now? I think you should keep cutting to get what you were originally set out to do. And then once you hit that goal, then think about bulking rather than backtracking even more because you're going to bulk and you're going to put some weight back on. You're going to be even further from your original goal.
Right, I get what you're saying, but also, like I said, I cut for 6 months, and then the second time around, I wanted to see the outline of my abs, which I got, and then I do want to see my 4 or 6 pack completely visible. But knowing that I'm going to compete next year in a show, I'm going to be cutting again next year. So I wanted some time to let my body have a break from all the deficiency, always being in a calorie deficit, always being hungry, and always being like not malnourished, but the feeling of just always fatigued and worn out from the excessive amount of deficit. And like, I just want to give my body a break to put a little bit of size on, have some good workouts for a couple of weeks and months, and then go back into a cut. But I get what you're saying. I agree with you 100%. It's like stick to what your goal is until you achieve it. But my goal at the end of the day is to compete in bodybuilding. So as long as I'm moving towards that goal, I feel like I'm still on the right path.
Right, and in regards to you saying like the weight loss and people not wanting you to hit your goals and stuff, and kind of getting like, you know, a little defeated feeling. But I just tried to remind myself personally, like I didn't get fat overnight. It took a long time to get to where I am now in weight. It's going to take just maybe even longer. Well, maybe not because it's been a lot of years of bad habits. But you know what I mean? It's going to take a long time to get where I want to be. It's not going to happen overnight as much as we all wish there was some magic pill.
Yeah, I mean, it's always going to be a journey when you're getting into fitness, and like it's never you're never really going to have a sprint to a goal when it comes to fitness. Like you're going to have to do like the marathon kind of version of things. Like you're never going to go in there and you do 3 sets of chest one night and you wake up the next morning and you're like, "Oh my God, I overdid it. I look like Mr. Olympia now." kind of thing. Like it's going to take years a lot of the times to get to your main like goal that you have or whatever it might be set in your head. But as long as you have your own reasons internally to keep going, like that's what you need to focus on. Because there's always going to be somebody out there that's going to try and discourage you because they want to bring you down to their level. Like nobody, there's a lot of people out there that can't see somebody doing better for themselves and just go like, you know what, that's good for them. They got to go like, nah, you know what's a lot easier for me to drag them down to my level again. That way, you know,
I don't want to put in the work.
both shit, like we're both being crappy kind of thing. So, like you just have to be careful for things like that. And if somebody that in your group or something is just constantly like that, maybe they don't need to be in your immediate circle and group of people that you go to for like different things. Because if bettering yourself and doing something for you is going to make somebody else upset, like that's really like, do you want to have those kind of people around you, sort of thing?
Yeah, so about what you said about the whole doing 3 sets and being like Mr. Olympia. So the funniest thing was like over the years of doing this, because I've been doing this for a long time, like whenever I was in a commercial gym, one of the funniest things that would happen was like these new kids would come up to me like, hey, I want to work, even people in the job or coworkers or friends, whoever, they come up and they'd be like, hey, I want to work out and I want to get toned, but I don't want to look like those guys in the magazines, man. I was like, what, the guys who compete Mr. Olympia? He's like, yeah. I don't want to be big like that. It's like, don't worry, you won't ever be that big. You don't understand the amount of dedication it takes to get that big. Like, no, I grow fast. I respond really well. I'll get really big really quick. I was like, then why are you coming to me for advice? If you grow so quick, then go do 3 sets of dumbbells and then call it a day for the year. You know, if you grow so quick, and then same thing for females. Females will come up to me and be like, I don't want to look like a guy. It's like, you're not going to. I don't want to look like those girls in the magazine. I was like, well, to be honest, you should try. Yeah, you should try to look like those girls in the magazines, because those girls, first off, you just insulted every girl every girl that's ever worked for like a sponsorship and worked really hard for a fitness, like any type of like accomplishment in fitness, and got recognized, especially back then. It's like you just insulted all of them to assume that you eating haphazardly, maybe 50% of the time you're on a diet, you train maybe 2 to 3 times a week half-heartedly, and you think that you're going to look like these girls who's dedicated their lives to this sport to achieve and accomplish what they've accomplished. Like, you should try to look like the girls in the magazine, because no matter how hard you try, chances are you're going to fall short, because you don't have the same lifestyle that they have and you don't have the same amenities that they have. It doesn't mean that if that's your goal, you shouldn't go for it, because you should go for it. But the amount of dedication it takes to get to that level, it has to become your life to get to that level. Most people aren't willing to dedicate their life to get to that level. So whenever they say, well, I don't want to look like them, it's like, don't worry about it. You're in the clear. You won't.
Right. It's kind of like you don't want to look like them. You already just proved that you're not going to, because like you said, it takes so much dedication and so much hard work. And if you're already counting that out, there's no way you're ever going to get to that point, because it's not that easy. I wish it was.
Well, just like what you said, right? It didn't happen overnight. Like you didn't get fat overnight. You didn't get out of shape overnight. You didn't get unhealthy overnight. Right? So a lot of these journeys and all these people that want to get into fitness, like they have to understand, like this stuff isn't going to reverse itself. Like I was talking to a guy a couple of weeks ago, and he was telling me, oh, supplements don't work. Like vitamins and minerals, right? Oh, they don't work. You know, you need drugs to actually get like your blood pressure down. No, that's not true. Because I was talking about high blood pressure, and I was telling him, well, you need potassium, calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, and then the most important thing, sleep. You need a lot of sleep, and if you're sensitive to sodium, a reduction of sodium. And then you can correct your high blood pressure without having to take a pill for it. He goes, no. The only way you could get that down is if you take drugs. None of that stuff works for me. It's like, well, you tried it for what, 3 days? I mean, you've ate like this for 30, 40 years, and then your blood pressure got elevated. So you think that you're going to take a couple vitamins and minerals and eat a couple bananas, take a potassium tablet or two, and after 3 days your blood pressure is going to be 100% normal? No, you spent years beating your body to the ground. It's going to take a long time to reverse what you did to it. It's not impossible. It's not doable. It's just going to take dedication and time to fix all your health issues through supplementation and nutrition. And as far as it goes for weight, for image, same thing. You spent years eating Taco Bell and McDonald's and KFC and Jack in the Box and Sonic. And then you want to know why I've been doing this for 3 days and I don't look any different.
Yeah, and Like for me myself, like I'm keeping my focus more on like instead of the immediate kind of thing. Like I'm keeping my focus on more of like where am I going to be at in a year? Like I've done this multiple times for short periods of time, but I've never really dedicated like a full year to this, to bettering myself with like the diet and exercise. I've done like 3 months or maybe like a little bit longer every now and then, but then I'll break off and go a year, 2 years, or sometimes more before doing it again. But this time I have a much better focus on like trying to reach a more end goal kind of thing. So like for me, like I said, I'm looking forward to like in a year's time from now, what changes will I have made? Like how much better will I have made myself in that time? So just like looking at it like that is helping me a lot because there's some people like that are going to have that short-term goal and it's the only thing they're really looking at, and it might work for them for a little bit, but if you don't have a long-term one, it's going to be a lot more difficult, I think, because like when that year kind of rolls around and starts getting closer, I might adjust and be like, you know what, like what's 2 years going to look like? What's 3 years, kind of thing. So like that's kind of where I'm trying to put my focus more at.
Well, I get having like a long-term goal, but then I want to have a realistic goal at the same time. I don't want to make my long-term goal be something that's so drastic that's never going to actually happen, if that makes sense.
Well, it's like milestones, right? So a short-term goal, you're going to have a couple in those. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do a short-term goal of 8 weeks or 12 weeks, and then my long-term goal is whatever it may be, but I'm going to do it in stages, see if I can hit these milestones that would lead me up to my long-term goal. And like Richard's long-term goal is an underwear model for Calvin Klein. So he's hoping in a year's time he's going to get that sponsorship through them and get the model and the runway and everything else. So that's what his long-term is. And first he's going to probably start with like Fruit of the Loom, and then something like that. Something a little bit more adult diapers, Levi. Something a little lower end brand, and eventually try to get that.
I am getting up there in age.
Yep, trying to get that high end sponsorship, luxury underwear.
Yeah, and then like I do still we do still have short term goals or whatever. Like doing 3 months at a time. Like that's the short term goal for me. But being able to stay dedicated to it to hit that 1 year mark, that's like a big thing for me because it's something I've never actually done. So being able to keep going on these 3 month routes and then getting to that 1 year mark, that's going to be like a big step for me. Kind of thing. So I'm excited about that.
Well, yeah, you should be, and that's the thing too. Like a lot of people, they either get too big of a goal that's too far out, and they lose sight of why they started, or they have like a little goal that they want to hit, and they don't hit it in the time frame that they wanted to. Like what happened to me in my first 12 weeks, and instead of getting upset about it, I just doubled down the next 12 weeks, and then same thing for this next 12 weeks. Like I'm wanting to bulk to put some size on, like I talked about earlier, because the end goal is bodybuilding, broken record. But at the end of the day, it's as long as I'm moving forward and I'm getting results and I'm heading in the direction I want to be, which is stepping on stage and competing, win, lose, or draw, more than likely you lose. But still, it's all for fun and everything else. And as long as I'm actually marching forward, I'm good. And, I don't even talk about my goals, really. I talk about it on here, and everyone hears about it that's subscribed to this channel and you guys. But generally speaking, other people in my life, I don't really talk about my goals and what I want, because I always found like the more you talk about it to more people, the less likely you are to do it. Getting that adrenaline rush and getting that endorphin hit by telling people what you want to do and how you want to do it and everything else normally leads you to feeling accomplished without even accomplishing anything. And it actually ends up hurting your progress, because a lot of people feel like, well, I told like 13 people today, so that counts for something. And then that can normally let them kind of back off a little bit. And I've seen it happen so many times.
Like the whole talking about it and not being about it thing.
Yeah, talk about it.
Well, me, I don't like to tell anybody. I like to surprise them. I don't see people that
Sleeper
much.
Bill.
No, I mean like they don't see me because I work from home. I don't go anywhere really, and they find the holidays are coming up and they're gonna see me and they're gonna be like, "What? You lost a lot of weight?" Well, hopefully they say that, but you know what I mean. Like I don't want to even tell anyone. I want them to like see it for themselves. I want my results to speak for themselves.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's like this year whenever we went to the lakes and everyone saw me on your side of the family, they're like, "Oh man, you're still fat. Why are you even eating like that?" It's like, well, this fatty right here is eating like this to not be fat no more. Then the next time we went to the lakes, then it was like almost 2.5 months later, and they saw me again. They're like, "Oh wow, it's paying off, and you're still eating like that." Like, yep, still eating like that, but the only thing that's different is my body because it's changing. Everything else is still the same.
You gotta start at the bottom, and now you're here.
Yep, yep.
I have this tendency if I do 3 little squats and I think I have the perfect butt, but
Well, it's perfect to me. So, but I have a tendency that, I do tons and tons and tons of work and still feel like it's never enough and I never worked out hard enough. So mine's the opposite. Like, I don't care how hard I work and how much time I spend at the gym. I feel like I always could have done one more rep or one more set. Did I really give it everything I had? If it really came down to it, did I have another rep left in me? Did I have another set left in me? Did I sandbag it? Even if I have a great workout, I always think, did you really push as hard as you could have, or were you kind of slowing it down in the gym?
I wonder if that's a personality trait or just like the difference in the goals. Because like I just feel, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about? Whenever you work out, you just have this overall like different feel to yourself. Like you feel like you look so good even though nothing's really changed because it's been like 4 days. Just me?
No. It's called the pump. It's called the pump. That's what you start experiencing, that euphoric pump, that illusional delusion of the pump where you see what you can be. And the next morning, you see what you actually are, and then it's just like, I was happy.
It's not even the pump all day today. I was like, man, my pants are feeling smaller. I'm looking good. And then I saw myself in the mirror at the gym, and I was like, oh, no, I don't.
Well, that's also because your bloat's going down, so your waistline is going down, so it is going to make you feel better about yourself. And don't worry, whenever you look at yourself like 15 times a day in the mirror just to see if you changed from the last time, it's kind of discouraging.
Well, to be honest, we don't really have mirrors that show the whole body. They're all upper, like half mirrors, except for our daughter's room and the gym.
All the mirrors in the gym.
That's what I'm saying. That was the rude awakening. I thought I looked so good because I couldn't actually see what I looked like until I got in there. Dang, gym. You're supposed to make me feel good about myself, not worse.
Well, that's the kicker. Like, body dysmorphia hits like a freaking freight train whenever it finally hits you, when it grabs a hold of you. Yeah. And like, even me, like, before I took the deload, I was looking at the pictures and the videos of myself and my flexing and my posing routines. And I was like, man, this is wrong and that's wrong and this is small and that's small and this is fat and this is saggy and that's loose and I would just pick myself apart like crazy watching my posing routines and everything I need to work on. Then I took a week off of the gym and working out, and I went to go watch one of my videos earlier this week, and I'm just like, man, I look pretty good. Man, that's actually a pretty good pose. Man, all right, they're them lads. And then especially when I go way back, like 5-6 months ago, and watch those videos, I'm like, look at that fatty. My God, look how fat. Who's that fat guy? And then, but here's the difference between now and then. Back then, I was fat and hairy and gross. Now, I'm getting hairy again, not ass fat, but still kind of gross.
No, you're not. Not at all. I think the thing is a lot, too, is like we're our worst critics, right? And you don't realize how good you look sometimes until you look back and you're like, dang, look at how much I changed from before. Like, I mean, you're still not exactly where you want to be, but it's still a huge leap in the right direction.
Yeah, you feel good about yourself until someone who actually looks good comes next to you. Then you're like, oh, wait a minute.
Richard can't relate, right, Richard?
I was right. I was right the whole time.
You and your underwear always looking good, huh?
Yeah. Sure.
We got to get people signing up that petition. Leave a comment if y'all want to see Richard work out with his shirt off.
Did anyone comment on that?
No, not yet. I don't know if they made it that far enough in the video, so I don't know how far people
they
make it.
They probably just got too excited. They couldn't even leave the comment.
Oh, don't worry. People start catching on. They're probably like, hey, you know what? These fatties over here, I think they're on to something. They'll start watching. They'll catch on. And if not, if nothing else, we'll just go back in 20 years and rewatch and listen to these and laugh and cut up.
Yeah. It's nice to go back, too, because, I'm still fat and gross. I'm going to use your freaking words. But I'm excited to go back and look at these in a couple months and then be like, holy crap.
Yeah, we got to get you posing. I do a posing routine every Friday. We got to get you doing a posing routine. I'm telling you, whenever I first did it, I was embarrassed. I'm like, man, I can't believe I'm actually going to put this online and actually show how fat and gross I am. And now that motivated me and kept me on track to be like, okay, this is not...
to get better so you can always be made fun of?
This is not where I want people to see, this isn't how I want people to view me, and I need to actually make results and actually stick to this so that way whenever they view this video, they can view my current videos or my later videos whenever I made the progress and be like, oh, look at Fatty, he did stick to it. He did make results. Look, good for you, Fatty. You know, versus like, here's my fat video and that's it.
Well, lucky for you, I'm married to the most honest man alive. You'll be sure to tell me when I actually look good.
Yeah, that is true. I'm honest to a fault, and it's almost unfortunate.
Well, I just made that sound really mean. He's nice to me, guys.
Yeah, I'm just brutally honest. I'm blunt, and a lot of people can't handle that.
They want honesty until it's not what they actually wanted to hear.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many girls I made cry because they come up to me and they're like, "What do you think I need to work on?" Are you sure you like? Are you asking like to look good in a bikini? Or are you asking to look good enough to step on stage and compete in figure or bikini? To compete, okay. And I tear them apart, and they always cry every single time. It's like, look, you wanted the honesty. I told you everything that was wrong with your body that the judges are going to look at. You have two options. You either shut down and be like, it's not worth it, or you buckle up and you fasten your seatbelt and you get going on that road. And you just pedal to the metal and just floor it as fast as you can go and just hit that street running. And those are your only options, really.
That's why I just don't ask.
Yep, that's always that. So, but I think that's going to be it for me on this one. Do you guys want to add anything or anything else y'all want to? Richard was kind of quiet tonight. He was actually scrolling through a magazine. Believe it or not, a magazine, not a phone, but he has a subscription for all those elusive underwear models.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know Sears still had a magazine, but he gets them still. I don't know how he pulled that off because I thought they closed down, but he still gets them.
It's a backdated one. Special order. But yeah, no, that's it for me tonight.
Okay. All right. Well, hey, guys, we appreciate y'all stopping by and checking us out. If you made it this far in the video, thank you. And if you guys want to go ahead and leave a like, we'd appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed and you've been watching and you've made it this far in the video, let's be honest, you should probably just go ahead and subscribe to the channel. And if you don't want to subscribe and like, then don't do it. It's as simple as that, but we will see you tomorrow.
But subscribe.
Later.
Bye.